The 2009-10 season gave us some amazing moments. But looking back at that season, it will always be remembered as Kobe's last championship run. The funny thing is, nobody actually knew it at the time that 2010 would be his last title. Yeah, Kobe was getting older, but he was still only 31 years old. He put up his usual numbers, 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, around the same numbers he averaged in the previous 2 seasons. Unfortunately, as it turns out, it was the end of that era. How's it going, fellas? My name's Andy, and today we're gonna take a look at Kobe's last championship run. Entering the 2010 playoffs, it was quite a strange year. There were a bunch of different storylines going on, but we're only gonna focus on the Lakers. Now, the Lakers were first in the conference, and as the defending champs, they were the favorites to win the title once again. But at the same time, the playoff bracket was very competitive. The Lakers finished with 57 wins and grabbed the 1 seed, but the 8th seed that year was the Oklahoma City Thunder with 50 wins. That's kinda crazy when you look at it, only 7 wins separated the 1st and 8th seed in the regular season. Although the Lakers were still expected to trample all over the young Thunder team, it would be a tough battle right from the start. The 8th-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder were a bunch of young, super athletic guys who gave them all they can handle. After splitting the first 4 games, with the series tied at 2-2, they managed to pull it off in Game 6, including a Pau Gasol game winner. Kobe himself did not have a great series. He had a game where he shot 6 for 19, and then another game where he shot 10 for 28, and then 2 other games where he scored fewer than 15 points. Overall, his raw numbers did not look bad. He still averaged over 23, 4, and 4, but during this entire playoff run, this was definitely his worst series. However, as always, Kobe still had his moments. My favorite story was that, up until Game 5 of this series, Russell Westbrook was just killing them. The Lakers' backcourt was way too slow to deal with him. But in Game 5, Coach Phil Jackson asked the team, who wants to guard Westbrook? According to a report, Kobe Bryant raised his hand, pointed towards the kid who was killing the Lakers with his quickness and athleticism in the series, and said, "Send him my way." So Kobe was guarding him now, and Westbrook ended up with his worst performance of the series, scoring only 15 points on 4 of 13 and 8 turnovers. This was in Game 5, and although Kobe himself only had 13 points, his impact on defense was more than enough, and the rest of his team handled it offensively. The second round saw the Lakers match up against a familiar rival, the Utah Jazz, a team that they knocked out of the playoffs in the previous 2 years. And this year, it would be no exception. History would repeat itself. The Jazz got swept this time, and Kobe went off with one of the best series of his career. He averaged 32 points on 52% from the field. The entire Lakers team played really well, and the Jazz were just heavily outmatched. Now, moving on to the conference finals. Kobe and the Lakers took on the Phoenix Suns. The Suns at the time were basically on their last legs, but they were still having an amazing playoff run. They just swept the Spurs in the previous series, so they believed that this was their year. Steve Nash, Amari, Grant Hill, this was basically their last chance to win the title. Unfortunately for them, Kobe was on a mission. After losing to the Suns in the 06 and 07 playoffs, he wanted his revenge. And the Suns had no idea what was coming. Granted, this series was actually really close. It came down to the wire. In Game 5, the Suns had a chance to win the game near the end and go up 3-2. They mounted a furious comeback in the last few minutes, and Grant Hill defended Kobe really well. But unfortunately, Ron Artest was there. He grabbed the rebound and hit the game-winning layup. It was a crushing loss, and if the Suns had won that game, they had a very good chance of winning the series. But alas, that did not happen, and then in Game 6, Kobe closed them out with a 37-point performance, hitting multiple shots in the clutch. This set up the stage for a finals rematch between the Lakers and the Boston Celtics, who also went through a tough bracket of their own, knocking off 2 60-win teams in the process. Despite Kobe saying that he didn't give a damn about who they play in the finals, it was obvious that he wanted to play the Celtics. Losing to them in 2008 was devastating for him. Kobe even said that he listened to the song Don't Stop Believing by Journey every single day for 2 years because that was the song that the Celtics arena played after they won their championship. He said, "I hated that song for 2 years. I listened to that song every single day just to remind me of that feeling." You know, things like this are why people think that Kobe was a borderline psychopath. But at the same time, this was the same mentality that made him into the player he was. Entering the 2010 finals, this series was anticipated to be very close, with neither team being the absolute favorites to win. While the Lakers did have home court advantage, the Celtics still won their last 2 series without home court anyway. The Celtics were the second best defensive team in the playoffs, only behind the Orlando Magic, holding opponents to an average of only 91 points per game and a low effective field goal percentage of only 47%. The Lakers were also a great defensive team, so as expected, this series would become a grind fest. In this 7-game series, a team scored over 100 points only twice. The average pace of the game was 85.4, which was the lowest pace in the finals in the last decade. While he didn't have a great series shooting the ball, Kobe still averaged nearly 29 points per game and played great defense on the opposing Celtics guards. In Game 7, Kobe shot 6 for 24, which wasn't great, and he didn't have the best night. You know, there's some fans that look back at this game and see that the Lakers shot 20 more free throws than the Celtics, so the refs might have been favoring them. But honestly, that's not why the Lakers won. It was the fact that they got 15 more offensive rebounds than the Celtics. That was the major difference. You can't win if you give up that many second chance points. Those offensive rebounds led to more shot attempts and thus more fouls. Gasol got 9 offensive boards by himself. Rebounding was an issue all year long for the Celtics. They were 29th in the league in rebounds per game, while the Lakers were second. With a couple of clutch plays down the stretch by Kobe and his teammates, the Lakers managed to pull it out and win Game 7, as Kobe won his 5th and final NBA championship. Looking back, Kobe revealed that out of all 5 of his titles, this was the sweetest out of all of them. Not only because it was the hardest one, but also because it was against the Celtics. He cared about that one so much more, even saying that, "I'll put it to you this way, if I lost that championship, I'd be miserable. I'd be absolutely miserable." That sums up the story of Kobe's 2010 playoff run. Nobody really expected the Lakers to fall off after that, and afterwards there were some talks about another possible three-peat. However, that didn't really work out. The Lakers' core was getting old, and Kobe himself was slowly starting to decline. He did have a resurgent 2012-13 season, but that was marred by a brutal Achilles injury that basically ended his career. That team was never able to get back to the finals, but it capped off one of the greatest careers we've ever seen. And that's all, folks. Kobe's 2010 playoff run doesn't get talked about much anymore, but he had some of his best series ever, and finished it off with the ultimate revenge matchup against the team that beat him 2 years prior. It was the perfect ending for him. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on Kobe's 2010 playoff run. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.